If you're just not into the new kitchen thing that I'm doing, I'm going to put a bookmark in the video so you can get right to the cooking video if you want. First off, kitchen tour starts in the dining room. Baking rack in the dining room. This kitchen, it's not so much small as it has weird cabinet space. And then I'm going to put a knife rack sort of right over here. Continuing into the kitchen, my fridge is a lot bigger and nicer than what I had before. I'm going to put my vinegars and my oils over here like I had last time. Microwave, I haven't had a microwave in years and sometimes I forget it's there. Stovetop and oven are electric. That's a whole learning curve. Bonus right now is that it's easy to clean, but I've burned a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna let you guys know what I think. I have plenty of counter space and it's all the same level. In the old place I had 3 different surfaces at 3 different levels, which is why I got this guy that you'll see me cooking on in the old kitchen or prepping on in the old kitchen. I may not even use it this time around, but we'll see. That's to be determined. Coming around to here, a whole bunch of herbs. If you really want to step up your home cooking game, figure out which herbs you'll use and grow them in pots on the windowsill. Fresh herbs that were alive just a second ago make a huge difference. Dishwasher, I have never ever had a dishwasher. That's a learning curve too. I'm gonna continue to do my dishes as part of my outro. Some of you really like that, and it's part of the show. It's part of cooking for yourself, and I think it's important, which is why I include it. Let's go cabinet space. This is probably the only nice cabinet in the place. Most of them look like this, with this weird skinny section over here. I'd rather have one big 2-door cabinet right there than all of these kind of little weird cabinets, and it's the same on the bottom level. And I'm probably going to set up my camera right in this window, take advantage of this natural light, so that's probably the angle that you're gonna get, somewhere around there. I'll probably do my dishes from over here, and I'm thinking about continuing the Cocktails with Curtis series, maybe not as a live stream, but that will probably take place right about here. I have one more video for you that I shot in my old place, and that's gonna happen Welcome to Chicken Breast Part 3. We're going to be breaking down this chicken, and I'm going to show you how to cook some skin on, but still boneless chicken breasts. Before we mess up our cutting board, let's put that aside, and we're going to start our veggie prep. First veggie we're going to prep is this Grolsch Pilsner. I think Grolsch is a Czech beer, and I wanted a German Pilsner because I'm making sort of a mustardy, pickly pretzel sandwich. But this is going to do just fine. Oh yeah. I have some Gouda, and Gouda is going to come to you a lot of times with a wax rind. This rind actually doesn't seem to be wax. No, that is an edible rind. And the temptation is to cut down into it and make sort of slices of Gouda. I like to use a vegetable peeler and just make a couple
slices like this. Gouda is a Dutch cheese. Again, I wanted a German cheese, but being in St. Paul, I couldn't find any, at least at the couple of places that I stopped. Germany, as it turns out, is the third most producer of cheeses in Europe, but here in the States we're obviously concerned a lot more with French and English cheeses. Probably Italian too. Okay, that's probably enough for a sandwich. Oh man, oh, it's really good. I'm gonna eat this whole sandwich before I get started. Onion. I want a couple of very thin slices for this sandwich. And then I'm also going to prep a little for the pan sauce. So I'm just going to go down into my onion with the tip. And slice off thin slices of onion until it stops slicing nicely. And that should be enough for our pan sauce. Dill pickle, I'm going to slice this sort of on this bias here so I get thin but wide pieces. That's probably enough. Sprig of fresh thyme and a couple tablespoons of butter. Little bit of chicken in my life. Alright, a chicken is like a human. It can walk around with its chest puffed out, and it can hail a cab or direct traffic or incoming flights. First thing you're going to do when you get a whole bird is look inside. They included the neck. That'll be good fixins for stock. In a turkey, sometimes they'll include the giblets for making dressing. Over to our cutting board. Here's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take the legs off. And there, I didn't slice into any muscle. It's all skin. And if I line my knife up right there and slice down, this whole leg comes off. And there's a hind quarter. I don't break up my hindquarters because I love these two cuts of meat together, and for some reason I can never make them as good separately as they are together. So one more time, I'm going to slice down into the skin. If you want to cheat a little bit, which is completely fine, you're going to find where this thigh bone comes in and pop it out a little bit, and then you can see where the thigh bone's coming out. Cut on the other side of it. So now that these legs are gone, it's a little bit easier to get at this breast. I'm just gonna make one slit right down this breastbone here. And you're usually going to end up to one side or another of this breastbone. All I want to do is run my knife along the outside of the rib cage, and just like anything else, you get good at this with time, with practice. I'm going to pop out the wing bone here. One more time, we're going to go to the other side of this breastbone. We're just going to slice down enough so that we can see the rib cage. If you want to get good at this, my advice is the same as I gave last video for cooking chicken breasts. Maybe don't buy multiple whole chickens, but you can buy a whole chicken every single week and break it down and grill it for the week or roast it for the week or whatever you need to do. couple weeks, you'll be really good at it. This is future stock. This is future stock. These are getting frozen. These are getting made. Right, so there are a couple ways that you can deal with this wing. One is to just sort of tuck it under, and you can make it with the breast. There's a method called the airline chicken breast where you slice off most of this and just have the bone exposed. That's a little bit too high maintenance for what I'm going to do right now. Or you can turn that over again. You can find the bone. And save these for snacks. That tender I was talking about last time, it just fell out. These are also getting frozen for future chicken tenders. Salt. I'm going to heat this pan over a low heat. I'm still going to use my direct and indirect heat trick, but it's going to be much lower because we want some of that fat to render out of the skin. We're not adding any oil to this pan, so that fat is going to be what our chicken is going to cook in. And once I can wet my fingertips, and that happens, we're ready to start cooking. So I'm going to push my pan so that my heat is right here and my tails of my chicken breasts can sort of fall this way. We have a lower heat this time than we did when I made that boneless, skinless chicken breast. So I'm going to check it at 5. I'm assuming that I'm going to flip around 6. Five minutes has elapsed and we're still stuck. The chicken will release when the chicken's ready to release. Alright, these are ready to release at 5 minutes. Turn that pan around. And that was about 7 minutes before it was done on the one side, and I've gone about 6 minutes now. It looks like I need just a little bit more time. Yeah. Clean cutting board. The rack is over here so I can let these rest. Look at all that beautiful fond. That is going to be the flavor that's going to power our pan sauce. Alright. A little butter. Get our onions in there. Both butters, why not? Put that over the direct heat again, and I'll go back to sort of a medium low. You see some of that fond is coming up, but not all of it. So once this butter is completely done and these onions are smelling nice, which they are, I can go in with my beer. And scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. And we're just going to let that reduce. If we weren't doing anything else to it, we could just let this reduce to the consistency that we want. Let's put our sprig of thyme in here. Another reason to use a rack is that we get this chicken jus that's going to add even more flavor to our sauce. Alright, see how that's starting to get a little bit thicker? I'm going to add my mustard now. This is a deli style mustard that's made with white wine and horseradish. You can use a Dijon if you want. I'm probably just going in with about 2 tablespoons. And you see how that changed that? Mustard binds the fat to the water, in this case the beer. Alright, that's enough. I'll let that cool a little bit. It will thicken as it cools. Let's build the sandwich. We're going to tie this whole thing together with a pretzel bun. Pickles and onions. Get this cheese on my favorite looking chicken breast. And I'm going to split this sauce between the top and the bottom of the bun. And this sauce should just be hot enough to melt our cheese. King. Crown on the king. Alright. It's our chickeny, pretzel-y, mustardy sandwich. Let's eat. Check that out. That's a pretty delicious looking sandwich, if I do say so myself. This chicken is really juicy. This beer mustard pan sauce is absolutely amazing. These flavors definitely go together. And even with the cheese on top, the skin is nice and crunchy. I debated putting bacon on this for that reason. Doesn't need it. I don't think I specifically said it, but chicken breast is done at 165 Fahrenheit. This is so amazing and juicy because I pulled it before that and it continued to cook. It came up to temperature while it was resting. And that's really why we let meat rest. It has very little to do with the juices inside of it or redistribution or anything like that. You know, there's a little bit of that going on. The reason that it can become so juicy after a rest is if it's pulled early, it will stop cooking at just the right time. I set out to make like a German-inspired sandwich, and I ended up with something that's a very American understanding of Northern Europe.